Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to visit and check out my video. And we are doing something a little different today. I had a request to do a kind of a pros and cons of the cars in ACC, and the first cars that they wanted me to do was the Aston Martin and the Audi Evo, which works out really well because that's how they are in alphabetical order. So Aston Martin was first. So we're going to go ahead and start with that first, the V8 Aston Martin. And I'm going to do the pros and the cons and also just some key setup notes. And of course, these are just all my opinion. So take that as you may. But just to kind of do some background, I did some laps at some other tracks to try to just kind of refresh my mind and to see the things I liked and didn't like. And then also I did at the end, after I did that, I did this is a 20-minute race here at Barcelona, and the AI is at 100. So, and of course, I just I had an older setup that I have on it and did some adjustments to it, but I'm not really looking, to get the ultimate time. I was just looking at more of, what is the car doing compared to some of the other cars. So that's basically what I was trying to accomplish. So let's get started, and I'll start with the cons first. The cons, basically, at the top of the list really is acceleration. It's always hurt the Aston Martin. A few BOPs ago, they helped it immensely with acceleration, and it's really one of the reasons why the car went from in the middle of the pack, or maybe even a little bit lower, to up near the top of the pack. Because it is one of the best cars in ACC overall. And one of the reasons is because they helped it on the acceleration. But it still is behind pretty much all the other cars. It's in the bottom, of the category as far as acceleration. Which hurts it on the starts. It hurts it on coming off of real slow turns. So those are things that can definitely be irritating, but that's one of the cons. Traction control is another one. Traction control is very intrusive, and it drives me crazy because you're fighting with somebody and you're trying to get a drive off a turn, and that traction control's got to kick in all the time, and you turn it way down, and then then it ends up spinning the tire. And so it's either you can't find where it's working just right. I just don't like the traction control in the Aston Martin, and there's a lot of other cars that have so much better traction control than what they have. The turning ratio or reaction time is not the greatest in the Aston Martin. The car acts a lot bigger than it is. I mean, the Bentley, which is a big, huge car, to me, is better, reacts faster than the Aston Martin does. Going through a technical section, like where it is now, going through these technical sections, the car just doesn't react that fast. And I've turned the steering ratio way up on it to get it to react a little faster, which helps. But like right through here, where you're going through here, of course I'm sliding. I mean, I'm trying to go through there as quick as I can, because the car just does not want to change direction and do those things fast compared to a lot of the other cars. So that's definitely a con. Let's go to the pros, and it's got a lot of good pros. The pros are fuel mileage. That is probably one of the biggest pros for the Aston Martin, is the fuel mileage. It's probably in the top 3 as far as fuel mileage, and that means you can carry less fuel than the other guy. That helps with handling, that helps with braking, that helps with, everything, all the way across the board. And also, if you're doing a super long race, if you're really, in a league and doing an endurance race, you could cut a pit stop off, because if you fill the tank, you're going to be able to go a lot farther than everybody else. So that is a huge advantage for the Aston Martin. balance and stability are very good. Now, where the con of this reaction and the turning radius was a con, but also on the flip side, the balance and stability is really good. So that's what you're getting. You're getting a car that's very stable, and no matter what, no matter if you're going through fast corners, no matter if you're on the brakes, no matter if you're going through, a fast turn, it's a very stable car, and so that's added to your confidence, and so that's a very good pro. Tire wear, and tire wear is probably one of the best cars as far as tire wear. It doesn't wear tires. Yeah, you might get a little graining or something, but I mean, as far as overall, it just does not wear the tires like a lot of the other cars. And again, it goes with the balance of the car and the stability of the car. So it doesn't, like so many other cars wear their fronts, or they'll overheat the rears, or they do what or something. The Aston Martin does not do that because it's balanced very well. So that's, again, a very big pro. And another good pro is the aggressive setups. For the most part, almost all of them that I know of are very good for the Aston Martin. So, if you're new and you don't know a lot about the setups and don't really want to mess with them, you can just plug in an aggressive setup, get your tires to be where they need to be as far as the pressures, and you're gonna go good. It's gonna be respectable. The car is gonna be fun to drive, and you're gonna have some decent times and things like that. So it's a very good aggressive setups compared to a lot of other cars that struggle with that. Now, some key setup notes: you do not need to put a lot of wing in the Aston Martin. If you watch my video from Monza, I had 0 wing in the car, and I couldn't believe how good it still handled through some of the tight turns with no wing, whereas other cars, it would just be ridiculous. So, and I still say the car has got a natural downforce just to the body of the car. It's got the shape of the car, it just puts downforce automatically. So it does not need a lot of wing to make up for it. So you don't need to put wing in it, and if anything, it just upsets the balance of the car. If you put 50% of what the wing, max wing in it, or a little over that, that's probably the max you ever need to put into it. And that's even at a super tight track. So it just doesn't need that. And of course, that helps that with, even though the engine power is average, it keeps the top speed, or the longer straightaways, it keeps the speed up because you don't have to run a lot of wing. So that's where you make up for the average power of the engine. You can compete with the other guys that have power because you're not having to run that much wing. So that's a key thing on the car setup, because if you set it up like other cars and run a ton of wing, then you're going to be way down on straightaway speed and complaining and wondering why you're getting blown away on the straightaways, when the car is not bad, but you just don't need to put a lot of wing in it. Also, ride height. The car does not need a lot of ride height, especially in the rear. Again, with the natural downforce of it, if you put too much ride height in the rear with this car, the back end starts sliding around, and you don't want to have to add a ton of wing to keep it stable. So you need to just be careful on how much ride height you add to the rear. Obviously, it helps put weight to the front, and it helps the car react faster and turn, but you just got to keep it limited as far as how much you do, how much ride height you do lift up in the rear. And also, small adjustments. One of the good things about the Aston Martin also is the setups are very universal. The spring packages are almost the same for all the tracks. It's got a very wide envelope as far as the window of where the car's happy. So you don't need to make a lot of drastic changes. Small changes, little bit of wing, little bit of diff, maybe a sway bar, but just everything is very small. You don't have to do any major drastic changes, ride heights and spring changes and all kinds of crazy stuff, because it just doesn't need it, because the balance of the car is so well, and it basically is a very easy car to set up. One of the easier cars to set up, in my opinion, in ACC. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope y'all, with the pros and the cons, helps you with making your decision if you like the car, if you want to pick it for a league or pick it for a championship. It's also good for a newer person, as far as newer person in sim racing, or newer person that's in ACC. So if you want to get up and running quicker, the Aston Martin is one of those cars that would be easier to do that. And of course, if you take all the tracks and you drew a line in as far as is the car work at that track, the Aston Martin again is near the top of the list, because it does not peak and valley like a lot of other cars. I mean, no matter where you go with the Aston Martin, it's gonna work good. It might not be the absolute best car, but it's gonna be competitive, and it's gonna be there, compared to maybe another car that might be super, just awesome there at that track, but struggle at another one. So I hope that helps anybody that wants the information. And again, the Audi Evo I'm going to do next in another video. And I sure hope you give me the thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the bell so you're notified of any new videos that come out. It really does help support the channel and with all the YouTube stuff. And I sure hope you come back and you visit real soon. Y'all take care. See ya.